Today we're going to go through the Topology and Morphing update to 2023.1. So I'm just going to cover some of the miscellaneous improvements that we've introduced for 23.1, mostly just usability things. So mid-mesh has had a few things adjusted. There was historically the defeature openings used to be a fixed value. It's now a parameter, so it matches the rest of them. We've added parts as a direct selector for mid-mesh. For repair fill, the filling phase is now based on the feature angle. So this is quite a nice little example here, where the construction of that obviously that fill face is based on the feature angle defined within the hamburger. So you can get a more appropriate result for what you're trying to do in a more direct manner. The imprint tool, we've restructured it slightly. So source and target have been changed. So you select the target first, the source later. This is one I'm quite proud of to present today. This is quite a nice, finally, step forward from things we keep getting feedback from customers a lot on is the performance of rebuild. So there are 3 different states here, effectively a full model with connectivity. So with RB3s, rigids, whatever, connecting that in. If you select an individual part and rebuild that part in the context of the model around it, historically it was taking 900 seconds to get a result. It's now taking 70. If you destroy the connectivity, so it's a disconnected part in that same environment, it used to take 140 seconds. It's now taking 70 seconds. And obviously the benchmark here is that 5 seconds, which is a part in isolation in an empty session just by itself. For context on this model that we were running here, the model size was about 0.5 gig. There were 12 million nodes and 10 million elements. So it was quite a reasonably sized model, I would say. They should see a significantly better improvement in terms of performance. I'm not sure if this is mentioned in any of the following slides, but we've also remapped the shortcuts for 23.1. So I believe what used to take you to smooth should now take you to rebuild. And what used to take you to the general 2D mesher will now take you to batch mesher. All this is being done to ensure that your customers will get the best results for what they're trying to do, rather than what historically were the legacy workflows that have carried for many years. On that, I'm going to hand over to Salim.
Hello everyone, my name is Salim, and I'll be discussing some of the enhancements that we have done on topology for 2023.1. I'm going to start with the enhancement that we have done for new geometry organization. For example, now when we organize a new geometry, we ensure the consistency across the tools and within the tools as well. For example, now we have added a global preference for controlling this, with original being the option, which is now the original, so that it will always ensure that it is sitting in the original part, in the original component as well. For this, there is a global preference, and everywhere, if you remember, we had this option locally in all the tools. Now, since we wanted to make this consistency across the tool and within the selector as well, so we have added this as a global preference under geometry section. So this option will now control all of the geometry tools for the geometry organizations. And, for example, if I'm talking within the tool, node selection earlier didn't had this option respecting that. So now it also obeys this option. And if you are talking about consistency between CAD geometry and FE geometry, again, this option is the one that ensures the consistency when we are creating, or rather we are organizing the newly created geometry. For this phase, we have improved tools like ruled, extrude, revolve, patch, spline, skin, wherein all of these tools obeys this option, and it also ensures the consistency within the selections in the tool itself, and across the tool as well, and between FE geometry and CAD geometry as well. So this is what we are heading towards, and so that is what we want to ensure. Going forward, We have also simplified the workflow for project tool. Earlier, we had the direction in the micro dialog, and users were getting confused whether they are picking the plane manipulator, direction manipulator, and since what is the active thing now. So that was not very intuitive. Is the feedback that we had got. So now this ensures the usability enhancement. Now the direction is in the guide bar and it's upfront accessible and easily understandable which manipulator is active and easily defined. So this is based on the feedback that we have got and we have enhanced that. So with this, I think I'll end for now. I'll hand over to Preetham for taking further things on the geometry side. Thank you all.
So hello everyone. My name is Preetham and I'll go over some of the things that we added from the geometry side in dot one. So this is much awaited quick edit panel migration to the actual context that we have added. This is coming from the field. This is nothing but a collection of all the tools mostly used um, tool in classic HyperMesh, with F11 shortcut that we used to go to quick edit. Now that context is available, um, and all the tools except for the meshing and the project point, which is really the align tool. We have everything supporting under quick edit now, and you can see that we have made it much simpler and also easy to understand with the actual action wordings on it. So you can relate to the legacy hypermesh as well as so it is for the new users, for the old users, and it becomes much more easier. I'll go over the demo later. Some of the other enhancements and resolved issues in dot one. Um, Revolve axis can now be created on the fly. So we are now supporting earlier. What used to happen is that we had to have a point created to get a snap for creation of the actual revolve axis. Now it gives you a preview even in the blank space, and you can click and select your axis and you can modify it from there on. So that is another a good enhancement. We also support the unsplitting of an FE edge. This is something we are doing in continuation of FE geometry support. So all the tools which works for CAD should work for FE geometry. So we are continuously every version we are working towards it. So this is just one of the smaller enhancement that was requested from the field that we now support as well from the FE geometry standpoint. Uh, as I was mentioning about the previous point, CAD and FE geometry should behave the same way. So we have modified uh, all the tools like ruled, extrude, and revolve. Also, some of the tools like surface patch from the outcome of it. So we have options under preferences, which you have a create geometry as FE geometry or CAD geometry. Now we have been consistent. So if you have a CAD line, that will be the output will be CAD. If you have FE geometry as your input, the output would be FE geometry. For the tools which uses mixed inputs, for example, ruled. So if you give a CAD, if you do a rule between the CAD line and FE geometry line, we listen to the preferences option. Or if you have orphan nodes, for example, that you are extruding, then we listen to preferences. So we have made it very consistent now when we listen to the preferences and when we create an output based on the input. So that we have been continuously improving as well as we are supporting. Another small enhancement from 2023, we completed supporting 1D and 3D, along with 2D for the element quality legend. And part of the issues that came was from the visualization and performance perspective. Since we are supporting all of the criterias, it becomes cumbersome on how we calculate things for 3D as well as 1D. We have improved our calculation methods so that 3D is also much faster now, and we can plot the element quality legend very efficiently. The other issue with this was that since 2D has been there for a while, it was all set, and there were certain visualization options, as you can see on the screen, where we can show no result as under the shaded mode or a transparent mode. We are now making sure that 1D, 2D, and 3D from the visualization perspective and performance perspective are on par, and it's working fine. We also did quite a bit of improvements from the small RFEs and bugs for sketching tools. You can actually see the geometry in the background. So we have done quite a few improvements into the sketch tools as well. Now I will switch to a small demo. What we have done is from the classic HyperMesh, as I was mentioning, F11 was giving you the split tools, which was very well used. It kind of gives you a nice um, collection of all the most frequently used tools, and we wanted to make sure that we provide that as well. Earlier, we were diverting people to go under split. So most of the tools were supported under split interactive lines, which is the offset line, washer split, and also the parametric. But I understand that it was kind of buried between the secondary and the selections. So now we have made it very open and clear that we have list of tools available that you can select from the quick edit, and um, the tools itself is again a collection. So any enhancements that you would like to have, if you once you use this tool, feel free to give us that feedback. But this is just a collection of the tools. So for example, if I select a split interactive, it is same as the split interactive that you have here. So I just wanted to make sure. And this works the same way. You can create splits, you can add fixed points. You can also using shift, you can take away the splits or the points that you have created. Um, so for example, here, I can give an example. If I select and create a split, I can also go to, for example, replace points tool, where I can select the points to retain and then the points to combine. So all these tools are already available. I can quickly go to washer split. Again, this behaves same as the line offset split. So I can select a line, and the micro dialog gives me number of splits and um, the value that I would like to use for splits. So I would like to also take this opportunity to point that the way we have made this tool is that it's a one-click solution. So we don't really want to, so we keep the micro dialog floating so that now I can select other lines and create these splits. Also, one thing to notice here is that, let's say, because of this, I don't really like what I see, I can quickly change the value, and the same would be accepted, the one that last created. So people don't know that we do this, and the reason was, again, um, in the quick edit, if you go to the washer split, you could just select a line, and this was already entered value, so you could just select multiple lines and carry out the operation. We wanted to do the same thing here, rather than selecting a line, then entering, and then clicking on play button. So We are trying to save clicks here, and this is a quick wash or split operation. Now moving to trim intersect. Trim intersect is basically a defeature operation. So from the defeature, when you go to cuts and locations, it's basically giving you the same tool. So that's what the trim intersect will do. So I can, select the the two nodes or points, and I can use the split intersect here. Coming back to parametric, I can select any edge and add fixed points to it. I can give a number of points, and I can um, create these points. If I go back into a split, and if I use the shift to get rid of these fixed points, I can bring them back as well in the parametric um, by using control. So you can see that it gives me a preview. If I accept it, I can bring back the suppressed fixed points. So that's the parametric functionality that today it exists. Now this is toggle edge. I know this has been requested quite a lot, and this was kind of the most used functionality also from the classic, where you could just click on an edge and stitch it together, right? And the same edge, if I click it again, you could suppress the line. Now this was we used to do this in the new interface in two different operations for stitch and suppress. So now by supporting toggle edge, you have this functionality available in just one tool. So I can do shift to go back from suppress to share, and from share to free edge. And if I just left mouse, I can do the stitching. And here I also have a tolerance value that I can use. So if I use tolerance values, then I can click and do the stitching operation as well. The other functionality is the replace point. I think I just went over. Just you can select multiple points and collapse them to fix your geometry. The other one is the filler surface. Again, this is similar to the surface patch tool that we have available. So I can just select the lines, double click on it and patch it. If I don't like something, I can always select that surface and move my mouse to accept the delete of the surface itself. So we also have this functionality available under surface patch. So it's a very good tool now that we have group most frequently used items under one tool. If there are certain things that you would like to see in the future that quick edit should support, I'm open for suggestions as well. And feel free to provide that feedback. How things are now much more simpler and open, right away available options from the text that we have migrated from the legacy. None of the options are buried under this. So that's kind of the whole idea here, that we can stay in one tool and make it more user friendly and less number of clicks. The other thing I think I was just hinting at was that the 1D, 2D and 3D visualization. So if I select no result as, let's say, for example, transparent, now, I can see that only 2D elements which are failed are shown on the screen. Same thing goes for 1D as well. I can visualize 1D. This was not working well or not consistent in the previous version. So we fixed this. So you can have the same type of visualization between 1D, 2D and 3D, just making sure that we maintain the consistency.